Welcome to the BPD Bunch. I'm your host, Xannie, and today I'm here with Georgette, Céline, Madhurima, Jack, and Hak Ja. Today we want to talk about treatment in teen years. So, did you seek professional help for BPD during your teenage years? If so, what prompted you to do so, and how was that experience for you?
I'll go first because the answer is short. I did not seek any professional help. I was not aware that there was anything wrong with me, and I didn't even know anybody who would have been able to help me.
I didn't either. I also didn't think that there was anything wrong with me until a friend, when I was maybe 15, gave me a leaflet she found at the GP surgery for depression, and at the time we weren't taught about mental health in school, so I was kind of shocked. But one of the symptoms on the front was suicidal thinking, and I knew that was something that I had that other people didn't have, so I gave it to my dad to be like, I think I have this. He said, I'm going to lock you in your room if that's true. So I just pretended that conversation never happened, and so did he. So we never really spoke about it again until I was in my 20s and had attempted and really needed help. And then the one other time was I went to boarding school for sixth form, and my personal tutor had direct contact with my dad, and I shared a lot about our dynamic, and he suggested I go to the school counsellor. And I was really scared that my dad would find out, and I was really shocked at the time. I was almost annoyed that he'd suggested that, but years later, now that I'm an adult, I've since messaged him and been like, I just wanted to thank you because you were the first adult that actually noticed that there was something really, really wrong with that dynamic and tried to help me. I went once and I didn't like her. She was very old and smelled weird, so I never went back. But on reflection, I guess that was the first sort of time someone saw that I wasn't right and something I needed help, but actually didn't end up ever getting proper help, therapy, or doctor's input until I was in the 20s.
What is sixth form?
The sixth form in the UK is the last 2 years of your school, like high school education.
Gotcha.
I didn't seek professional help because again, I didn't think there was nothing wrong with me. Certain adults around me didn't think that way, so they were sending me to like the school counselor, and also the knowledge wasn't easily available. And not only that, because of the culture I was raised in, a lot of mental health was considered, again, I'm sorry if this offends anybody, considered white people problems. Black people don't get mental health. We don't have depression. We don't have anxiety. So it was to allow that play to a part why I didn't seek professional help, why I didn't get professional help till I was in my 20s and I attempted and I was in the military.
I seek professional help at the very last part of my teens, like when I was 19. And what led me to it was I had just gotten into medical school. Like the one thing that I was sure in my life that I absolutely wanted to become a doctor, and like I absolutely loved studying medicine. But like I was also in a lot of emotional pain back then. And I had learned all sorts of like unhealthy coping mechanisms. Like I got into the world of partying and drinking and doing drugs, and it was not fun. And I was failing like academically, and I was failing at my relationships, and I just couldn't identify myself anymore. But it just felt like I had to be in some sort of trance. Like I just had to be drunk or just had to be high, because otherwise I couldn't stand the pain I was in. Otherwise it just felt that I wouldn't survive it. So I couldn't stop, and it was becoming a problem. So I went to see a therapist, but my therapist was horrible. My first therapist, because that was the first time I was going to a professional, and I obviously took some time opening up to her, because that was my first time opening up to a stranger, and I was very bad at opening up to even people I knew. So I didn't tell her about my alcohol problem in the first session itself, but at the end of the very first session, she told me, you know what, your problems are solvable. You're not like the other people, because people who come to me are drunks and people who do drugs, and they have it so much worse than you, and you're still in a very good place. And I hadn't even begun. So like I still went back, I think like 2 or 3 times, but like after that I stopped. It was not a good experience.
I can super relate to the bad therapy experience in the beginning. I mean, I didn't seek it myself, but when I was 13 and I got found out for self-harm, my parents immediately were like, all right, we're gonna deal with this. So I went to see a therapist, and it was like talk therapy, and this person was very much of the belief that all 100% of maladaptive behavior comes from severe childhood trauma. So it was a combination of her trying to find out what my parents did to me to make me that way, and also that if I just talked about my feelings about things, that I would just be better. And I know that that is helpful for a lot of people. I'm not knocking that. It's just in my case, like my family talked all the time. We had dinner together every night and we would talk about our days, and it was sort of, so it was just like, that was not the issue. Like I wasn't silenced. And so it was just, it was a bad experience because it framed my expectation for all therapists moving forwards, which is that they're all idiots. They've already decided what reality is, and so there's no point in being honest with them about anything because they're just going to project what they think onto you. That was like my 13-year-old brain mind. And so, yeah, that definitely affected a lot of my other therapeutic relationships moving forwards.
Oh, Jesus.
It's really hard because I think like most people do have like really bad experiences when they're a kid with therapists. I don't know why that is, but I showed my family that I was self-harming, and I don't really remember what they said, but I know that they yelled at me for it and blamed me for it. And then shortly after, I had to start treatment, and I had like therapy and group therapy. But I remember like every session, this therapist, he would just say, "Are you suicidal? And like, did you cut yourself?" And after that, I was just like, okay, yeah, like, hi, how are you? Like, okay, great way to start a conversation. And I just like, over time, was just like, I'm not answering this anymore. And most of my sessions were like my parents talking to the therapist and telling them what they thought was wrong with me. So that was when I like, I guess, unofficially got diagnosed with bipolar, and they were medicating me for all these things, and it was just making me feel like garbage. Like I had all these really big, intense emotions, and it felt like I was like a zombie. Like I couldn't, like that feeling where you get when you're about to cry and it like goes up like your body, like your throat, and I would just get stuck there, and I couldn't physically react. It was really horrible. So I learned really early on that I had to lie to therapists and psychiatrists, and all these behaviors that I used to do, like let's say like picking at my nails. I made it very like obvious. I would pick my nails, and then for like a couple weeks I was just not picking my nails, speaking very calmly. Like I was like, okay, I have to talk about like future plans and goals. I knew exactly what to say so that they were like, okay, she's cured. We did so good. I was like, yeah, you're so amazing. You did so good. I'm cured. And so they were able to take me off of like that treatment and close my case. But for years, my mom would have my old meds like locked up in a box for emergencies, just in case I got a little too depressed or suicidal. So that was just always looming over my head that I couldn't like ever share anything ever again. And I didn't seek out treatment until I realized that like my anger was like a huge problem because I was hurting people a lot, and I made like one of my close friends cry. It was really bad. So after that, like I personally sought out counseling like in college, and it just kind of went from there.
Thank you everyone so much for watching. We hope you got a nugget of wisdom to take with you on your journey, and we will see you next time.
Peace.